All right, let's talk Ford Mustang GT500. In the past couple of videos I've done talking about my Ford GT and the new GT500, I've expressed my extreme interest in picking up this car. I've reached out to some people at Ford and a couple dealers, still have not heard back anything positive about getting me a possible allocation other than spending way over MSRP, which I have no plan doing. So hopefully Ford or someone or whatever the case is can get me an allocation so I can bring the GT500 to the garage with my other Ford GTs and get a lot of really cool videos going and performance tests and races with the new GT500. That being said, as we get closer to the release of the GT500, some tests are starting to be done. I got some data leaked from Road & Track. This is their kind of worksheet data that they usually attach to some of their online blog articles when they actually field test or track test a vehicle. So this lists all the performance specs that they got out of the new GT500 out in Las Vegas just a few weeks ago. Now, of course, as I look over this data, I want to first compare it to, well, my Ford GT to see if the new Mustang is going to outrun my Ford GT, and as well as compare it against some of maybe its closest competitors, maybe the Dodge Demon and some other cars. Of course, the GT500 is a track-focused car, not a drag car, but nonetheless, we could extrapolate some of the numbers on here with my own testing with the Demon and kind of see where these two are going to line up outside the drag strip, maybe with some roll aces or even at the drag strip. All right, so before we dive into the numbers here, let's look at the track conditions. This was done in Las Vegas, which is at high altitude and usually pretty hot, especially in May. So listing with the temperatures and data is here. If you're not familiar with my website, dragtimes.com, I have a calculator on there that you can look back in time and pull the weather and grab the DA. So what I did is I dropped in the date and time here and pulled the DA near the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and I pulled up a DA of 3,850. So let's keep that in mind when looking at the numbers. That's pretty bad. So if you bring that down to 1,000, even 1,500 foot DA, the numbers that I go over here from Road & Track will increase or decrease quite a bit. All right, so on to the numbers. It doesn't look like they tested a drag strip based on the 0 to 60 number they got of just 3.4 seconds. They usually use V-boxes. I actually see a VBO file name field here on the sheet, which means V-box data file. So 0 to 60, 3.5, 0 to 100, 6.8. Quarter mile came in at 11.1 at 132.5 miles an hour. So that's done at altitude 3,800 DA. I expect the trap speed on that to jump up to probably over 135, 136 miles an hour. Also, if we do some calculations here, they don't give us 60 to 130 times or even 100, 150, but we have all the data and splits from their V-box here. So when I do the numbers, 60 to 130 came in at 7.3 seconds, and 100 and 150 came in at 8.1 seconds. So how does that compare against V-box data that I have for both my Ford GT here as well as the Dodge Demon? Now, I got two separate Dodge Demon tests done down here in South Florida, and they were both about the same. So let's compare it against the Demon first. Two Demons on race fuel at the drag strip at probably about 1,000 to 1,500 DA were going 60 to 130 in 7.4 seconds. And they were running quarter mile in the low 10s at about 131, 132 miles an hour. So that lines right up with what the GT ran mile an hour wise up in Vegas. But, you know, obviously with better weather, the GT500 is going to do much better. Comparing it against my Ford GT, 60 to 130 in the Ford GT comes in at 7 seconds. And at the drag strip, it ran 10.8, 131 miles an hour. And out at the Wanna Go Fast event with bad traction, I was able to go faster in the half mile. Out there, it trapped 133 miles in the quarter mile, and it did 100 to 150 in 7.4, and 0 to 150 in 14.3. So that's a pretty bad number, 14.3, because it was spinning a lot at that half mile event. But if we look back at the Mustang GT500, they actually have a 0 to 150 time of 14.9. So that'll probably drop down quite a bit in some better weather. what does that really tell us? It looks like this car probably will beat the Dodge Demon acceleration-wise outside the drag strip. You know, 60 to 130, top end, of course. The Demon probably slows down a little bit. Compared with the Ford GT, I think it's going to be pretty close as well. I think looking at the numbers, you know, 133 quarter-mile traps at the half-mile event, and which is higher than what, you know, the GT500 did at 132. But of course, the weather's going to drop that down. I think, you know, at the drag strip, we're going to see GT500 running probably low to mid 10s at 135, 136 miles an hour, which is pretty impressive given that it's not a drag strip car, it's made for the road course. Some other interesting notes here on the data sheet. They actually weighed the car. It came in at just over 4,000 pounds. And for braking, it did 60 to 0 miles an hour at 96 feet, and from 80, 174 feet. I don't really have any numbers to compare that against. I think the 60 to 0, that's pretty good at under 100 feet. All right, so those are the numbers on the GT500 from Road and Track out in Las Vegas. I'm sure they're going to have a lot of videos and really cool stuff coming out soon about the car. And I'll put links in the description of my testing of the Dodge Demon and my Ford GT out at the half mile and at the drag strip, so you can take a look at those 60, 130 numbers, 0 to 60 and quarter mile as well. Hopefully, in the near future, I can hear something from Ford and get myself a GT500 allocation. I think that grabber green just looks phenomenal. I haven't had a green car yet, and I think maybe the GT500 would be in my first pretty outrageous green car to have in the garage, and we'll do a lot of cool stuff with it. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button and we'll keep you updated of all the upcoming videos. Thanks.